to the program Improve Seeds, or your first agricultural television in the capital city of Abuja, Nigeria. I am Hilda Hamsef Francois, your host, of course, and today is another beautiful day. We have another beautiful episode of the program Improve Seeds, where we discuss and explore things around agriculture, most especially about things that need to improve our agricultural products, most especially in this season that we're fighting hunger. Today's focus will be the effects of climate change. And of course, to discuss this is an intelligent man, a doctor, Dr. Basiru Shehu Wandu. I'm correct, right?
Yes, you're right.
Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing, sir?
It's my pleasure to be with you.
It's our pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, we'll go on a very short break. When we come back, we'll have our discussion in full. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Of course, we have a lot of things affecting our ozone layer, and it's due to the climate change, sir. So first of all, what is climate change?
Climate change is the long-term change in the pattern of weather system.
Okay.
If we say long-term, we are talking about several decades, like 3 decades, 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So when we say the weather pattern, usually we are talking about the elements of climate, which are temperature, rainfall. The first thing people imagine that comes to people's mind is temperature when you mention climate change, which is how heat or cold a place is. So over time, there is an observed increase in the average temperature, for example, of a particular location, or maybe the changes in the pattern of the amount of rainfall that we have, the distribution of the rainfall itself. It is observed over time, like that 30 years, that there is changes. Maybe we have concentration of rainfall into a particular period of time of the rainy season instead of having a widespread. Or maybe, for example, the temperature increases. For example, if you take the whole, the global temperature, it is observed that looking at the average global temperature from 1850 to 1900, looking at the average temperature at that time, there is an increase of 1.1 degrees Celsius.
Wow.
In the period of 2011 to 2020. So if you take the average temperature, average global temperature of 2011 to 2020, and compare it with the period of 1850 to 1900, there is an increase of 1.1 global temperature in terms of how warm the globe is. So the same thing with also the rainfall. Instead of having, for example, a separate of rainfall within like 3 months, so we will have rainy season, for example, of a particular location of 3 months, but the rainfall will be concentrated in, for example, 1 month instead of having a separate of, So this is what is called climate change. So instead of what we used to have in terms of how heat the location is, that's the temperature, or maybe how the rainfall is separate across the rainy season, we now have something different. Either decreased amount or increased amount, or that's separate. That is what is climate change.
Oh, that is beautiful. So what are some of these causes? What are some
So the causes of climate change have been classified into 2. We have the natural causes, we have the man-made causes. Natural causes are those causes that even without the input of man, climate changes as a result of those. For example, we have tectonic activities, tectonic shifts. the continent. You know, we have continents, Africa, Asia.
Yes,
Yeah. So that continental divide that we have, it shifts.
Okay.
But in geological time scale. So for example, it shifts like in millimeters over a year or maybe over a decade. So over time, those shifts in continental shelves and general movement of the continent causes formation of mountain ranges.
Okay.
It causes the divide in landscapes.
Okay.
It causes issues like tsunami that we have. So when we have the continental shelf within the ocean colliding, then we have those issues of like we have in tsunami. We also have orbital issues. I mean, orbital shift. As we know, Earth rotates and it revolves around the sun.
Yeah.
That's how we have night and day, and that's how we have seasonal changes. Because of those changes, we have changes in the temperature, and that causes some element of increase over time. That's over I mean, geological time scale, as I said. Another natural cause is the volcanic eruption.
Okay.
Yeah, when we have volcanoes erupting, you know, they extrude lavas, and those lavas comes with a lot of ashes. These ashes accumulate into the atmosphere, and they create a lot of greenhouse gases. I need to mention this in discussing about what climate change is. The main elements or the main greenhouse gas that causes climate change is carbon dioxide. We have other elements like methane, nitrous oxides. So, but the major one is the carbon dioxide. And so that volcanic eruptions releases gases into the atmosphere, including carbon dioxide and other, which absorb heat. So by absorbing this heat, they keep the world warmer than it used to be. So these are some of the natural causes. And we have also the second category, which is the man-made causes, which people argue, some scholars argue that these natural causes are not causing very much climate change as the man-made causes are influencing the rapid change in climate. One of it is I mean, the causes, the man-made causes have been classified into different sectors. We have energy sector, we have transport sector, we have our agricultural sector too. So if we look at the energy sector, for example, production, refining, use of oil and gases, it causes a lot of gases into the atmosphere, and that's rapidly or drastically causes changes in climate element, which is in general climate change. If we look at the transport system too, you know, our vehicles on road, locomotives on rail, our air transport, planes, even the ships, the energy they use releases carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. If we look at also industry, I want to go to agriculture at the end. So if you look at the industry, the manufacturing industry, the goods they produce for us, in the process they release carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. There are also leakages from those industries. All those contribute to increasing the amount of greenhouse gases we have in the atmosphere. If we move to agriculture, there is a new term that is now used, which is AFOLU, agriculture, forestry, and other land uses. they have been classified as one sector. Agriculture also contributes to climate change. One, you need to clear land to have a farm where you can produce your crop. By clearing that land, the plants there stores carbon. If you clear that land, the carbon that is stored there in the soil and in the plant is now released into the atmosphere. That's one aspect of it. And you have the equipment, machineries that are used on the farm and the plowing and other farm processes. They use energy. That energy releases gas into the atmosphere. We have also the use of fertilizers, especially the inorganic fertilizer that we use. It releases gases, or maybe, for example, when you use too much of fertilizer, some of it will will wash down to other water, causing air pollution. Water pollution. These are some of the ways through which agriculture causes climate change.
And to come to these agricultural aspects, how does this now affect, how does the change, that is climate change now, affect the soil and the plants? How do they get affected?
So it's a two-way. One angle, agriculture contributes to climate change. And on the other hand, agriculture is like the largest sector that has been affected by climate change. So when we have one of the major impacts of climate change is drought. That's lack of, as I mentioned, this drought. We have meteorological drought, we have hydrological drought, we have agricultural drought. Meteorological drought is where we have less rainfall. So maybe the amount of rainfall that we should receive at a particular place is less. So we say we have meteorological drought. Hydrological drought is, for example, maybe your farm is downstream along a river course. So because we don't have enough rainfall in the course that will now run down to your farm or to that location where you need the water, then we have less water, and we call that hydrological drought. We also have agricultural drought where we have less available water for the crops to use. So drought is one of the major impacts of climate change on agriculture. So when you have less rainfall than required by the crops, then you have less productivity. The amount of, maybe the yields that you will have, it will be less compared to, because every crop have cardinal requirement of water, temperature. At certain degree of temperature, some plants may die because of heat waves and all those things. So that is one way, drought, that's the climate change affect agriculture. Maybe saying, looking at only the crop sector, subsector of agriculture. If you look at livestock too, climate change may lead to prevalence of diseases. There may be less amount of water for the livestock to use. Even the fodder, the available fodder. That's how we have all these crises. Maybe during rainy season, you see animals moving upward because we have more water there. But when we have less water, you have them moving down to south looking for fodder. So as the climate change leads to less available rainfall, that also leads to less fodder for animal. So in the livestock sector also, climate change reduce or maybe decrease the productivity in the subsector. You look at also, if you look at the fisheries sector too, climate change may lead to acidity, maybe also the prevalence of diseases in water courses. You see a lot of fishes dying, coming up. So the amount of fish catch will be reduced. that is how climate
It
change affects agriculture.
What about now? This is a general aspect of it.
Yeah.
This is general aspect of it. So now, how does it affect the soil itself?
Okay, looking at soil itself, soil is like 95% of the food we eat comes from soil.
Yes.
Now, there are, like, let me say we have majorly 4 components or 4 areas where climate change affects soil. Number 1, soil erosion.
Okay.
So it comes in 2 ways. When we have drought, there is less soil moisture, which makes the topsoil to dry up. And when we have wind, that the wind will be carrying the topsoil away. I mean, causing soil away. When we have torrential rainfall, like I mentioned, that climate change causes some concentration of rain within a period of time. For example, rain that should have fall within 3 hours, for example, you have them falling within 30 minutes. And you can imagine, I'm talking about the amount that should have been spread into like 3 hours, coming now down into 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
So you can imagine the effect they will have on soil. So you have a rain splash erosion there. And because of the concentration of rain, you have a lot of runoff going on the topsoil, washing away the topsoil. So that's one aspect of effect of climate directly on the soil.
And that in terms now affects the plants that is being planted. So.
Yeah, definitely. When you have the topsoil washed away, then either you have the productivity reduced, or completely the land will become unfertile and therefore agriculturally less useful. Then the second one, we have the issue of soil organic carbon. Soil organic carbon is like the main element that determines the structure of soil. It determines the physical structure, biological structure, because it supports binding of the soil. It supports biological activity. So when we have this impact of climate change causing drought or maybe causing erosion, this is being washed away. The soil organic carbon is being released into the atmosphere. One, reducing the productivity of the land itself. Secondly, increasing the amount of carbon dioxide that we have into the atmosphere. And that increases the amount of gases that keeps heat within them, increasing the temperature of the soil. There is also the issue of soil pH, which is very important. Crops have their limits, or maybe I can say requirement of soil pH. Soil pH is the measure of acidity or alkalinity of the land, of the soil. When we have this impact of climate change, it changes the soil pH, either by making it more acidic, or more alkaline, making it, changing the original structure of the soil, which now affects the requirement of the soil. The soil pH also determines the amount of nutrients in the soil. It decreases when it is more acidic or more basic. That determines how much available nutrients are there in the soil, which will be available to the plants. And you can see with those relationships, climate change affects soil in that respect.
Well, hope you are really following us. This is very educating, and I'm really carried away because I know some of these things are being caused by us, and of course we'll also bear the consequences. Please, we'll go on a short break. We'll be right back. This is still Improved Seeds on your agricultural television in the capital city of Abuja. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. This has been an interesting discussion with Dr. Bashir Shehu Kwandu. He has really, explored the effects of climate change on the soil, on the plants, humanity, and even everywhere. And of course, some of the effects are being done by humans, man-made through our industries and even agricultural produce. And of course, sir, now, can we highlight some of the remedies? What are some of the solutions that you feel we can do to, we are not actually eradicating it, but how can we adapt to it?
Yeah. So that's what leads to discussion about climate mitigation, climate adaptation.
Yes.
So climate mitigation is all about what can we do to reduce contributing to climate change.
Yeah.
Climate adaptation is what are the measures that we can take to cushion the effect of climate change. Let me talk about adaptation.
Sure.
So definitely in Africa we have so to say some options that we can take. Africa is one of the continents that will be hit by climate change, as it's been said. Not because Africa, but because of the vulnerability of Africans. So one of the measures that we have to be taken is one, using the improved crop varieties. For example, talking about rice, maize, there are varieties that have been developed that can withstand drought. They are short duration varieties.
Right.
So that issue that we have of having concentration of rainfall within a period instead of having longer stretch, so the crop will be able to withstand and can perform within that period of time. We have also crop varieties that are disease resistant, because climate change also causes, as we talk about, prevalence of diseases. So there are crops that have been developed that can, and released also, that can withstand some of these diseases. That's one, adopting improved varieties. Even animals, there are improved animal species. Talking about animals and even fishes, there are improved ones that can withstand diseases. So adopting that is one of the strategies that can help us to adapt to the change. Since we cannot control it, we can at least adapt. Second thing is about our practices. We need to adopt, let me say, climate smart agricultural practices. Climate smart in the sense that we use our local available materials that we have to improve our soil, to manage how we use our water, to control, reduce the rate of soil erosion. For example, cover crops, using cover crops, that can reduce the amount of topsoil that is being washed away. We have what we call also green manuring. Cover crop is essentially used to protect the soil itself, but green manuring is now using that crop to improve the soil itself. After the crop grows up, you now chip it into pieces, and then you mix it with soil. That's green manuring. So we also have the use of our manure from our domestic wastes. That can help also, but there is discussion about how much can we get of the manure. But if you look at the amount of waste that we generate from our houses, if you can use that, you can either take it directly to the farm, although it needs to take some time to weather, to be broken down for easy, release of minerals for the plants. That's using our manure from our domestic supply. There is also the use of compost. Compost is using all those remains of plants in the farm. You now bring it together and keep it for a period of time that it will now decompose, and that make it less, hard, or maybe make it more easier for the plant to extract the nutrient from the manure when it's supplied to the soil. There is also the application of fertilizer. We cannot rule out the application of inorganic fertilizer, but the question is, how do you use the fertilizer itself? There is what they call 4 R's. The right time that you should use the fertilizer, the right rate, the right amount of fertilizer that you need to apply, the right source. Where do you get the fertilizer? Which kind of fertilizer are you applying to which crop at which location? And there is also the issue of right place. If you are placing the fertilizer, where do you place it? Where you place it, can the root access the nutrient before it's washed away? So all these things need to be put into consideration when you are applying the fertilizer, especially even the manure itself. You need to have these considerations when you are applying it.
So can farmers embark on another process of farming? Or is there another process of farming that we can do, like in the process of farming? Okay, that's what we're talking about, the manure, the processing, the crops that should be planted.
Yes.
Are there crops that help to build back the climate change that can adopt? They can stand out and adopt the changes?
That's what I was talking about, the improved varieties that we have. That is in terms of the produce that we produce. But we also have crops. You know, there are all these farming systems that we can adopt.
Yes, farming system.
Mixed cropping.
Yes.
So you have intercropping between, for example, maize, cowpea. You have intercrop. There is also apart from intercropping, as I mentioned, we have cover crops.
Cover crops.
Yes. That helps reduce the impact of climate change on the soil, and by implication on the produce. And then the productivity of the farm itself.
Oh, you've heard it all, farmers. Of course, we can't change the ozone layer. We can't change the effects of climate change, but of course we can adapt to it. We can adapt to it by making use of improved varieties of crops. We have even improved species of animals that can grow faster. We have our produce, our livestock, within a short period of time to withstand all the droughts and other things affecting our farm produce. And of course, we can also adapt the different methods of farming system, the crop farming. We can have mixed cropping, where you have your legumes and your cereals together on the farm. We can also know how to apply your fertilizer, organic or inorganic, and other ways that doctor has really highlighted and explored on it. Thank you so much, sir.
It's my pleasure.
Hope when we call upon you, you'll be here for us.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much. If you enjoyed the program Improved Seeds, why don't you keep watching our programs and you get educated, enlightened, and of course entertained. I am Hilda Homsem Phantom, saying let's all put our hands on deck to eradicate hunger. See you next time, and take good care of yourself.